Hello everyone and welcome back to Vet Chats, where we help veterans share their awesome stories and make the veteran community a better place. I hope you'll stay tuned to hear how the new generation is continuing their service. Quick reminder, if you are a female veteran who has ever served in California or is currently serving, or if you have lived in California and you now live somewhere else, please take the California Female Veterans Survey. The California VA is putting this survey out to hear the voices of women veterans to help improve their facilities for us. Link is in my bio. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Today, we're going to be talking about why reflecting on your service can be such a great way to heal and move on, and I might even say it's pretty necessary when getting out of the military. Because your service, it's very complex. People will often ask you about it, and they'll want you to give a black and white answer, and that's just not possible. So it's important to reflect on your service in your own time so you can truly understand how that experience shaped you and shaped who you are today. So let's pull over. We're going to park for a little bit because we're going to take a break from looking through the windshield, and we're going to give that rear view mirror a little attention, all right? Okay, so the first thing is personal growth. You joined the military at a younger age, and you've had so much growth, whether you realize it or not. The military offers many transformative experiences that could be boot camp, training, deployments, all of those things. They really tested us and they pushed us to our limits. And these experiences, they fundamentally change who we are, and it is important to identify in what ways, like how did it change us? So knowing why we are the way we are is important because it's going to be helpful in understanding the choices we make. When we understand the choices we make, we can make better choices and therefore make our lives a little easier. So as I just mentioned, we encounter a lot of intense situations in the military, which therefore creates a lot of complex emotions. This could be fear, it could be loss. For me, a lot of it was shame, others pride, friendship, love, and all the above, right? So military culture influences us to suppress our emotions, and that's kind of what it has to do because we need to keep moving on. We don't have time. We have the next mission. We're always on. So we're often suppressing our emotions, and that could be through alcohol, which was my personal favorite, numbing ourselves, or oftentimes just diving right into that next mission and not giving ourselves any time because there isn't much space for us to process those emotions. So when we get out and we have time for it, we don't have that immediate next task at hand, it can all hit us at once. It's like a giant wave. Whether you're ready or not, it's going to come crashing down, and you can either embrace those emotions, which oftentimes we don't have the tools to do so. So we often resort to what we're used to doing, which is trying to numb them, keep numbing them because that's what is familiar and also feels more comfortable. So by reflecting on our service and going back through and identifying, hey, that was a really crazy thing I went through. How do I feel about it now? And how did I feel about it then? Just going back and questioning those things and giving yourself room. And oftentimes I like to do this through journaling. You could do it by calling someone who maybe went on that mission with you, went on that deployment with you, just something. But by giving yourself that opportunity to process that, it's going to help you in the long run. So then you don't have that moment where everything just crashes all at once. Okay, maybe you've already had that moment and it feels like all your emotions from service are crashing on you. Always seek professional help. That's my first advice because this is not professional help. I'm not a professional. But if you aren't ready to talk to someone, please think about this framework of just going back through and looking at things that you had trouble with and kind of identifying your feelings around them. I think that's a great first step, but I would recommend seeing professional help absolutely at first. So another great reason to reflect on your time in the military is to identify what you gained from that experience because you have picked up some new skills, you've picked up some new connections. How can you apply those to your next chapter in life? What values or interests or even hobbies did you pick up on? Were there things that made you happy, or possibly you picked up on some health and coping mechanisms such as working out? Identifying some of those healthy tools can be a great resource for you in your new civilian life and kind of remind you of things that brought you joy and how can you apply them to this next chapter. Most veterans will feel like they lost a sense of purpose after they got out, but I like to question people, what was this sense of purpose? What was your sense of purpose when you were in? And oftentimes it is something that can be found in their civilian life. For example, people will often say, oh, my sense of purpose was serving those around me, serving my teammates, my shipmates, what have you. And it's like you can still do that in your civilian life. You just have to look at your current situation a little differently. But you can often find that whether it's at work or in your community or serving your family, there's always a place that you are needed. Also, it's important to look at how much your identity was tied to your uniform and what parts of it were tied to it. Maybe you really identified with being the tough persona of a Marine, or maybe you really identified as a grunt, what have you. If you were a healthcare worker, you identified with being a corpsman. Why did that bring you that sense of purpose? And why did you feel so attached to it? So these are some deep questions and they take time. So if you feel overwhelmed, that is okay and it's normal. And give yourself that time because this can take years. And I swear over the years, you're going to look back on it and keep wanting to reflect. And you're going to just find more and understand yourself on such a deeper level. So reflecting on service can often bring us closer with others. Sharing your experiences with a supportive community can validate your experiences and your feelings around them. This can keep you from feeling like you are the only one experiencing those feelings. And we all know veterans have a tendency to isolate, so it is important to talk about what connects us and what brings us together. Your story has that power. It has the power to help others to feel less alone. So when you reflect on your own experiences and you process it all and you're ready to share with others, don't be afraid to share it. It could honestly really help someone. Or even just talking on the phone with someone or sharing something anonymously could be a great place to start, because sometimes it is uncomfortable to share and it's not always the right crowd to share with because not everyone understands. But I feel like the veteran community and especially our Facebook group, it's such a safe place. I mean, people share some crazy stuff that I know in other communities would not be as accepting. But because we've all been through similar experiences, we understand and we're like, hey, yeah, I've been through that too. It's gonna be okay. So when you feel like you are in that safe place, don't be afraid to share. I think we can all find a lot of good and bad with our experiences in the military. So by reflecting on the times, you're going to notice that you can identify with both. Yes, there was some shitty times. Yes, there was some great times and great things that you did. But our brain, like society, our brain also likes to put things in a box. And if you had a very traumatic event, your brain might have put your whole military service in a box and labeled it as bad. Put it in the corner and it's bad. So when you think about that, all you're going to reference in your head is that box that says bad. It's all negative. But by reflecting on our service and slowly unpacking that box that says bad, you're going to notice that there was some positive things in it. There was some neutral things. Sure, there's that one part that's super negative, but you will also find some positive things once you start unpacking that. And you're just never going to know unless you start. If you keep labeling it as bad, you're not allowing yourself to grow from that good as well. So find out how it impacted you, and then you can decide what you need to heal from and what you want to bring with you on this future journey. As always, I just wanted you to know that I'm super proud of you. I want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you have any feedback or comments, I'd love to hear them. I always love hearing what you got out of this episode or what you think I could do better. If this really sparks something in you and you want to dive deeper, all of these questions are in the Veteran Workbook. It is available on Amazon, and the best way to get it is the link in my bio. I'm really trying to make this workbook searchable by getting 100 reviews on Amazon by July. So far I have 14, so come on, help your girl out. I'd really appreciate it. I've seen how this workbook can really change people's lives, can help veterans not only reflect on service, but also get excited about their future during this kind of scary time. So I'd really appreciate it. I just want to get this out to as many people as I can. Again, I want to thank you, and we'll talk next week.